Welcome back, everyone. This is GTA Failure. Notice in this save file, I have exactly $0 to my name. This video is all about money. I'll try to reach the maximum possible money amount if there is such a thing in this game. I'll show what happens if you exceed the maximum money amount. I'll share tons of data about different approaches to getting money in GTA 3, and I'll give my opinion on which approach I think is best for an early game money grind. If you just want to see the final conclusion, you can skip to 21 minutes and 30 seconds of this video, but don't do that. I think I have some good stuff to share between now and then. So you're going to see me doing Firefighter in this video, pretty much only Firefighter in this video. I'm not actually going around the map putting out fires, as you can see, because earning as much money as I plan to would take way too long if I actually drove around to the fires. Instead of using a replay glitch that I showed off way back in episode 3 of this video series, if you use a replay during Firefighter, all the fires on the map get put out and you get credit for putting out those fires. Here I'm typing in the double speed cheat code. I'll actually put it in twice. You can see that the reward for putting out the first fire was $250. The second consecutive fire gave us $500. The third consecutive fire gave us $750, and so on. Note that at the start of this attempt, I made a really short replay for the purposes of this experiment, and I did that by pushing F2, F3, F1, F2 in rapid succession. Again, F2, F3, F1, F2 in rapid succession, and then you push F3 anytime you want to watch the replay. I did the double speed cheat code twice. That's the code time flies when you, just to reduce the amount of time I have to wait between putting out one fire and then the next fire spawning. I was hoping that using the cheat code twice would speed up the game fourfold. That's what I had read somewhere, but it turns out it doesn't. I actually used a stopwatch with the game in normal speed, and I found that 60 minutes of in-game time takes about 59 seconds of real time. That's in normal speed. And when you use the double speed cheat code, 60 minutes of in-game time take about 33 seconds of real time. So it's not quite double speed, but almost double speed. And then putting in the double speed cheat code a second time doesn't make time go any faster. It's still 60 minutes of in-game time happening in 33 seconds of real time. So the idea for trying to get maximum money came from YouTuber Scrimpy Menke, who made this suggestion to me in the comments of the very first video in this series. So thanks to Scrimpy Menke for the suggestion. When I started researching for this episode, I assumed that the maximum money was 8 digits long because that's how many digits are displayed. You can see in the top right corner in blue. So I figured the maximum money was 99,999,999. But then I found a posting on gtaforums.com which said that there is a maximum amount of money, but it's much higher than $99 million. I've included a link to the post below. In that post, the forum user Claude Speedrun claimed that the maximum money was $1 less than 2 raised to the 31st power. Or said a different way, they claim that the maximum money is a whopping 2 billion, that's billion with a B, $2,147,483,647. I'm just going to refer to this number as 2 billion for much of this episode. Naturally, I had to try and see for myself, and I chose Firefighter with the replay glitch as my method of getting maximum cash in as little real time as possible. And so I wanted to see, like, is that the right number? And what happens when you exceed the 8 visible digits up there in blue? Lots of questions. So for the sake of science, I sat at my computer and hit the F3 key every 2 seconds or so for a long time this morning. Obviously, I'm not going to show you my entire attempt at this. I'll just show highlights of a grown man spending hours hitting the F3 key. In this first clip, I am approaching my first $1 million, and then once I get there, I'll cut the video. It took about 4 minutes in real time for me to get to my first $1 million. I'm going to put a black screen for about a second between each of my clips, just because I'm sitting here in exactly the same spot. So like nothing in the landscape changes, although the time of day will change as I jump from one clip to the next. So right there we just passed $1 million, and again took about 4 minutes in real time. So pretty quick to get to $1 million. There's the black screen right there. In this next clip, we are approaching $10 million. We're making about $70,000 every 2 seconds using replays and the double speed cheat. Notice that traffic is still flowing, but there are a bunch of pedestrians frozen in place. Okay, so we just exceeded our 10 million and making good progress. At some point, I'm going to share a bunch of data, and so I'll just tell you that I considered a number of different ways in which to do an early money cash grind. And so Firefighter is one of them, Vigilante, Taxi, the paramedic mission, and a ride in the park, which is the off-road mission in Belleville Park. And then finally using the money cheat code. So I'll talk about all those things soon. In this next clip, we're going to get to $100 million, which is pretty exciting because we get to see how the game displays a 9-digit number. You can see up there 8 digits is all that I've ever seen in my 1,000 hours of playing this game. And right there, we just got over 100 million, and the game had no problem just adding a digit right there in the front. We're making about $220,000 every 2 seconds using replays and the double speed cheat. Notice that all the pedestrians are frozen. Traffic is still flowing, but it's starting to back up in one of the oncoming lanes because I think there's a down traffic light and there's a car that stopped in front of, like right next to that down traffic light. So he's going to stop the cars behind him. Okay, there's the next black screen. Here, nothing special about the dollar amount that we're at, but this is now 1 hour of elapsed time for me in real time as I was conducting this experiment, up at about $265 million after an hour of pushing F3, and I was making about 370 grand every 2 seconds. Notice that there's no traffic flowing and no pedestrians moving. I think I broke Liberty City. Okay, so let's talk about different options for making money. So first I'm going to share with you how long it takes to do each of these side mission things, like to do one single task. So for example, if you're playing Firefighter, but legitimately, not like I'm doing here with replays, but you actually go to the one fire and put it out and then go to the next fire and put it out. I estimate it takes me about 40 seconds for each fire. This is on Portland where things are kind of close to each other. It might take longer on the other islands or both of the other islands. About 40 seconds per fire is my estimate. And then for paramedic, it takes about, I'm going to call it 12 levels of paramedic is like one incident of paramedic. So to do 12 levels of paramedic takes me about 34 minutes. And then to do one taxi passenger drop off takes about 34 seconds for me on average in Portland to drop off one person and then pick up the next person, go drop them off. Each one is about 34 seconds. Vigilante kills takes me just under a minute each, again, over in Portland. To do a ride in the park, which is that off-road mission in Belleville Park, takes me about a minute 20. But then if I'm going to do repeat runs of that mission, then I need to make the drive from the final Corona in that mission to the starting mission location. And so I'm going to add 20 seconds to my ride in the park time. So I'll call it a minute 40 to do the mission and drive back to the starting point. So I'm ready to do another copy of Ride in the Park. And then the money cheat is if I were a rich man. That's the phrase you type in. And I'm going to call it about 5 seconds to type that phrase in, just for the purposes of these calculations here. Okay, so if you wanted to get to the maximum money amount, which is that 2 billion number and change, and you're doing Firefighter legit, not like I'm doing here, then you would have to put out about 4,000 fires, which would take about 2 straight days, of doing Firefighter in order to put out 4,000 fires and get to the maximum $2 billion of money. Okay, here's our next. Here we're closing in on $1 billion. So that will introduce our final new digit of the video in the cash display. Getting here took about an hour and 40 minutes in real time, and we're making roughly $700,000 every 2 seconds using the replays. Okay, so coming back to the data, I mentioned for Firefighter, legitimately about 2 days to get to the maximum amount of money. If you're doing paramedic, and then you just keep doing paramedic over and over again, you make $65,000 whenever you complete all 12 levels successfully. And let's assume you're perfect on paramedic and you're just a machine and you do one paramedic immediately followed by another 12 levels of paramedic. It will take you about 785 straight days of gameplay in order to get to the maximum money amount. Again, it was about 2 days of Firefighter, 785 straight days of paramedic. That's 24 hours a day of paramedic. Not the most fun thing to do in the world. Oh, we're so close to $1 billion. Let's do it, GTA Failure. I think this next one, yeah, I'm pausing on doing the next replay so we can all enjoy this number rolling over. Is that it? That's the one. Another digit added. $1 billion in an hour 40. Outstanding. Okay, if you wanted to do taxi and earn enough money to get up to the maximum money amount, then you need to do taxi for about 3 straight days, 24 hours a day. Note that taxi has a cash bonus. Like if you drop off 5 straight passengers, you get $2,000. After your 10th straight passenger, you get another $4,000. After your 15th, you get another $6,000. And so all of my calculations assume that you're not stopping taxi. Like you literally have to do it for 3 straight days, 24 hours a day, in order to get up to the maximum money. Because most of the money you earn from doing taxi is in the consecutive drop-off bonuses, as opposed to the actual fares themselves. Okay, to do vigilante and get to the maximum money would take about 1.5 days of straight vigilante. Again, this one relies on the bonuses for doing consecutive criminal kills in vigilante. You get $5,000 after your 5th consecutive criminal kill, $10,000 after your 10th consecutive criminal kill, $15,000 after 15 consecutive kills. So you do it straight, and you're doing it for a little over a day and a half. Okay, if you wanted to do a ride in the park, again, that off-road mission in Belleville Park and get maximum money, is going to take you about 83 days. The only nice thing about that, even though it's like way more than these other options, is that you don't have to do it consecutively. You could play for like 20 minutes and then save your game and then come back the next day and play for an hour, whatever you want to do. Whereas with Firefighter, you have to do it straight. With Taxi, you have to do it straight. With Vigilante, you have to do it straight. But Paramedic, you could save after each 12 levels, and Ride in the Park, you can save after each attempt. Okay, here's the next clip. Here we are about to surpass $2 billion. Note that I'm not doing any replays right now in the recording. Instead, I'm just sitting here waiting for the money to catch up because I've already earned this money from the last few fires I put out, but I can earn the money faster than it can all get deposited into my wallet. Okay, so here we're making about $1 million every 2 seconds. Keep in mind that in the beginning of Firefighter, every 2 seconds we made $250, and then $500, and then $750. And now we're making $1 million every 2 seconds. We have come a long way since the beginning of Firefighter. Okay, coming back to the data, if you do the money cheat, and it takes you 5 seconds to do the money cheat, then you will get to the maximum money in about 12 hours, about half a day of doing nothing but typing in "if I were a rich man" over and over and over again. I think Jack Nicholson's character did that kind of thing in The Shining. Okay, so that's if you want to get to maximum money, but let's actually share now if you wanted to just do an early cash grind, a reasonable cash grind. Let's suppose that you wanted to do one of those activities, the 6 activities I just named, and you're willing to spend half an hour, very early in your playthrough. So if you want the least amount of money for your half an hour grinding whatever, you do Paramedic, you get about 57,000 bucks. Next worst is Taxi for 139 grand. Next is Firefighter, 250,000. Vigilante would give about 360,000 in half an hour. Ride in the Park will give you $540,000. It's the best bet for a 30-minute grind. It's pretty cool. So yeah, again, compared to, for example, Vigilante, Taxi was $140,000 in half an hour. Ride in the Park gives $540,000 in half an hour. Of course, nothing can beat the money cheat. So if you want to cheat, half an hour of typing that code over and over again will get you about 90 million bucks. Okay, so here we are closing in on the supposed maximum number amount. We're going to try to get as close to maximum money as possible without going over. It's like The Price is Right when you're bidding. Remember, according to the forum post, the maximum is a bit more than 2,147,000,000, and then 500,000-ish after that. So I'm going to get just over 2,147,000,000, and then I'm going to stop because I need to stay under maximum money. That's the plan. Okay, coming back to the data, if you do the calculation, if you do one of these tasks, for 30 minutes, like I said, then I'll share with you how much cash you earn per minute for 30 minutes. But again, it's different if you do it for an hour. The cash earned per minute changes because some of these things have bonuses. In Firefighter, you earn more every time. Okay, so was that my last one? 147,000. I think that's the last one without going over. The pause was me double checking my arithmetic because I don't want to go over. Okay, cash earned per minute. Firefighter, 8,000 bucks. Paramedic, 2,000 bucks. Taxi, 4,000 bucks. Vigilante, 12,000 bucks. A Ride in the Park, $18,000. That's your winner. And then the cheat code, the money cheat, is 3 million bucks. Here I'm typing in boring twice to get time back to regular instead of double speed. If you do Firefighter with replays, like I'm doing here, but you don't use the double speed cheat, you just use replays, then in half an hour's time, you will be earning about $6 million per minute. $6 million per minute if you play it for half an hour. And again, that's twice as good as doing the money cheat every 5 seconds, because the money cheat only gets you about 3 million per minute, but this fighter gets you about 6 million per minute if you do it for 30 minutes straight using replays. Okay, so we are still under the maximum, which I'll share some more of the digits again now. It's $2,147,483,000 and change. But I had to stop on Firefighter because if I did one more, that would have given us another $1 million or so and would have exceeded the maximum money. But I've put the exact maximum dollar figure in the video description below. So check it out if you want to see how close I'm cutting this. So I saved my game just in case the game crashes or I accidentally earn more than the maximum money. I want to get to that, literally that dollar amount, the exact dollar amount. So it took me 3 hours pushing F3 to get to this point in my playthrough. So you can get to the maximum money in the fire truck by using full speed code and replays in 3 hours. If you don't use the double speed cheat code, it would take about 6 hours. But note that you have to do all the fires consecutively for these figures, these hourly figures to work. You can't put out fires for an hour and then quit Firefighter and then save and then go back to it later or another day. If you play Firefighter 1 hour at a time and you keep quitting and then starting over, instead of taking 6 hours without any double speed cheat, but using replays, it would take 16 hours to get to the maximum money. So you got to do it straight. Okay, trying to get closer again to the magic number, 2,147,000,000. We've got those digits correct. And then after that, we want 483,000. So here we just passed 300,000. And again, I'm just trying to get close to, but I want to make sure I don't exceed. I could have sped up this process a bit by using the money cheat code once. Again, if I were a rich man, it gives you $250,000. And I could have just used it once and that would have saved me a little bit of time, but I didn't want to use any cheat codes in this attempt other than the double speed cheat code. And it would have been quicker if I had, instead of this part right here, done a few rounds of a ride in the park to get me closer to max money before I came back to Firefighter, maybe to really close in on the number. But I decided I was all in on Firefighter, and this particular fire truck, me and it have gone back a long way, 3 hours at this point. Okay, I'm going to play some of this stuff in double speed. Maybe I have been playing it in double speed, but there I had to get out and save and just really double check my arithmetic and make sure I don't go over the magic number. Again, 2,147,483,000 and change. So can I do another one or do I need to pause here? Let's see. Yeah, we got to get out. Otherwise we shoot over the magic number. Okay, so here's the fine-tuning process as we start over with another 250 bucks. So the magic number, 2,147,483,000. We're there. $647. 647. So I can't even do a single fire because 250 would put me over the magic number. I'm only $147 away. Okay, so I decided to drive my fire truck over to the ammunition just to go spend some money and just show that that even close to maximum money, like it's going to work out just fine. Like the cash will work out fine. The $600 will get subtracted as it should. I don't break the calculator for the cash function even this close to the maximum dollar amount. Again, the last 3 digits we want 647. That's how close we are to perfection. I wasn't surprised that that doing this firefighter thing was the best technique in terms of using replays and the double speed code. Because I did a ton of calculations. I made some formulas for like how much money you get after putting out N fires and how much money you get after doing paramedic N times and after dropping off N passengers in taxi. Like I got formulas for all these things. Paramedic and ride in the park. Oh, here I'm just trying to get closer again. So 647 is what I want in that last digit. 647. The last 3 digits, I should say. So I think we can do Yeah, so we're only about $200 shy, like $197 shy. And so when I need money, like some spending money in real life, I just drive my car into other vehicles and I get some spending money. So that's the plan here. Just trying to get again close to the magical 647 at the end of the bankroll. And then here my fire truck got stuck, so I'm gonna like quadruple speed this. Me eventually realizing I can't move my fire truck, so I had to get out and push. But yeah, I did all my formulas, I did my calculations. So there were linear formulas for three of the tasks. Paramedic is linear, ride in the park is linear, and the money cheat is linear. But if you really want a ton of money, then you got to go with one of the quadratic formulas, or quadratic functions, I should say. So the quadratic ones were Firefighter, that was the best one, Vigilante, and Taxi. Actually, eventually Vigilante would win. If you weren't using like the replay, if you're doing Firefighter legitimately and you weren't using the replay glitch. But yeah, much easier for me to do consecutive Firefighter legitimately than to do Vigilante legitimately. Okay, again, the last three digits we want are 647. So we're literally $10 off. Now we're $3 off. And what? I just need $3. Here we go. Smashy, smashy. All right, that was anticlimactic. We got nothing from that guy. Now we're going to get something from this guy. Give it to me. $3 exactly. Boom. Okay, so accidentally went over the magical 647. That's my bad. Actually, I had a lot of trouble getting to the magical 647. So after many attempts, I think it took me about 5 minutes of just smashing into cars and going over the goal and then reloading and then smashing into more cars. But eventually the magic happened on this attempt, ma'am. I'm doing science. I need your vehicle. All right, 647. I just need $4. Give me my money. No whammies, no whammies, no whammies, and stop. Beautiful, beautiful. Maximum money achieved. Of course, there's a Colombian here to help me celebrate, shooting the guns in the air to celebrate me and my milestone achievement. This is wonderful. Okay, so I'm going to save here in front of my safe house driveway, and then I'm going to reload my save. So I'm going to lose this stallion here that I've got. All good though. I've got enough money to buy a new replacement stallion. Right, so we did it. We are at the maximum dollar amount. So now I'm going to fast forward a short drive to the. Oh, I can't get in a taxi because that'll give me some money. Short drive over to the ammunition. I don't want to smash into any cars because I don't want to exceed the dollar amount. So I'm going to save here because we're just going to experiment a tiny bit. So we'll save and then I'll go in and buy something else. Just to show you that again, the cash counter still works even when you're at the maximum dollar amount. So we're going to buy, I think, something for $600, and the last three digits will go down to 047. Oh, maybe is it not 600? Maybe it was 800. Yeah, it went down to 847. I misspoke before when I said 600. Okay, now I'm going to exceed the maximum money. So I don't want to get in the taxi or this taxi here, just another vehicle, please. This one's fine. And I'm going to watch very carefully when I smash into one of the vehicles in front of me. Check out the blue dollar figure up above, currently at max, and then the number hardly changed. Looks like it's only different by $4, but if you notice, and right next to the dollar sign, there is a negative symbol. I now have negative $2 billion, and I don't have enough cash for this $800 Uzi ammo. Oh my goodness, that one crash, that single crash, sent me from the penthouse to the poorhouse. Yeah, so the money rolls over if you exceed the maximum dollar amount. It goes to essentially the negative of the number that we had, the negative of that maximum dollar amount. Whew. All right, so I can't afford anything at ammunition until I grind my way back into the positives. It's crazy. Okay, so here I've reloaded my save. This is the last attempt that I'll show you here. So now we're $10 under, and I want to get to the most negative number, which is, turns out, so remember, the most positive number you could get is $1 less than 2 to the 31st, and the most negative you can get is this number up here in blue, which is actually just negative 2 to the 31st. No $1 less or $1 more. That number up there in blue is negative 2 to the 31st power. We're not going to get all dirty here, but if you're into computer science, you might understand what's happening there. I think that's like a double int variable, and when you roll over, you just come back around the other side, but 0 counts as one of these numbers, and so that's why the funny $1 less on one end. Okay, so as I start Firefighter again, notice my money is increasing by $250 and then by $500. My wallet is getting less negative. Unfortunately, I accidentally saved over my main save file from this series while recording this footage, so off video I'm going to spend the next 3 hours doing Firefighter with replays just so I can get back to $0 and continue my playthrough. Thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you real soon.